You know what's honestly really tragic is that I have a brand new phone that's arriving today, but I don't think it's arriving anytime soon. I think it's coming at night, and so therefore I cannot film with it. Very sad. Happy Pride Month, everybody. So I'm sure that a lot of you have seen these kinds of looks, pictures posting now, of the lifted eye look, a very similar look as the foxy fox eye look. This is my lifted eye tutorial. Think Kylie Jenner, not Kylie Jenner, Kendall Jenner. They're all the same anyway. You know, this little Spock lake. But I'm going to be showing you how to do that without plastic surgery and only makeup. So let me zoom you in. Ooh, we're getting nice and personal right now. I'm going to show you two different ways that you can achieve this look. I'm going to be doing how to do the lifted eye technique for hooded eyes on this eye. And then for people that have an exposed lid where you can see your entire lid, I'm going to be showing that on this side. But for my hooded eye girls and gays and non-binary friends, this one's for you. Your best friend when it comes to a look like this, tape. I'm so serious, tape. Or if you don't feel comfortable using tape, or if you don't have tape, you can just use a brush, even a credit card, and just hold it up so you can get that precise line. It'll help guide you on where you want to place your eyeshadow. Now, there's two different ways that you can apply your tape. You can either apply it directly underneath your lower lash line, basically like that. But what I'm going to show you today is I'm going to place it slightly below my lower lash line, and I'll explain why in just a second. So I have my tape down. I have left just a tiniest bit of room for my lower lash line so that we can connect what we're going to do on this upper portion down here for a more cohesive look. As far as placement of tape, especially if you have downturned eyes, or your eyes, this lash line right here, if your lash line either points down or just straight, and you're not sure exactly how to place or what direction you need a guide for this lifted look, place your brush or tape or wherever on the lower lash line and angle it where it's going to meet your temple. So this is going to be your guide. But before I apply any eyeshadow, I'm going to do this little trick that I'm sure a lot of you have seen on TikTok. I'm taking my Patrick Ta Cream Contour and Powder Bronze Duo in the shade She's Sculpted. It comes with a cream bronzer and a powder bronzer. And I'm taking this e.l.f. Blending Perfector brush. You really don't need much. I'm just lightly coating my brush and create a shadow from my eye to my temple. So now that I've placed that, let's go ahead and start the fun part. And I'm going to be using my Nabla Side by Side eyeshadow palette. I'm taking this color, which as you can tell is a couple shades darker than my skin. So I've taken this shade Halftime on this brush, and the way that I'm placing the product on my brush, I'm going in on the side like this, tapping the excess off because you don't want a lot of powder fluffing up everywhere, and then that gets in the way of your blending. Now, because I've placed the eyeshadow on one side only, I'm also going to place it against my eye flat. I'm not going to go in like this, but flat so that I get the most color right above the tape. And again, my brush is flat against my face. It's not like this, it's not like this, flat like this. And you can do little circular motions too. I'm literally sweeping, a literal sweeping motion. This kind of pressure, extremely light. The bristles are barely touching the skin. Now, when it comes to how far up you want to take this eyeshadow, it's really up to personal preference. I'm also going to take a little bit of the eyeshadow onto the outer portion of my lid. You see, I'm taking my brush off of my skin, and the least amount of pigment is going to be dispersed in this direction. I'm taking this slightly darker brown shade in the palette called Beauty Mark. Again, I'm going in on the side. I'm not going in this way. So I'm starting right here where I started before. Instead of going all the way up, I'm going to go over a smaller area this time. So the darker we go with colors, the smaller our brush needs to get, or the smaller your blending motions need to get. And again, I'm gonna take some of that color onto the outer part of my lid. So for this inner portion of the eye, this is what I'm going to do. Now you can do this with a shimmer or a matte shade. Personally, I like to keep this look all matte, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this lighter cream color from the palette called Rarity. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking this lighter matte shade and going to fill in this whole inner portion of my eye. And I like to take whatever kind of lighter eyeshadow you're using up all the way to the eyebrow in this area, because it's going to open your eye and really shape the eye. So we're going from light to dark. So this is the hooded eye side. Now moving on to if you have an exposed lid kind of eye shape. For this exposed lid lifted eye look, I'm going to be taking this small crease e.l.f. brush. This size blending brush is suitable for my eye size. If you have bigger eyes, you could probably afford to go in with a brush this size. It's just really up to you. I'm going in with the shade Halftime once again. Now this time, instead of going flat, I'm actually gonna go right and place the eyeshadow on the tip of the brush. So first I'm gonna go into my crease, and just like on the hooded eye side, we're still gonna focus most of the product on this outer corner. And I'm literally doing a sweeping motion. This is where we're going, and this is where we're starting. So we're going in this direction towards the temple. As I'm sweeping towards the temple, I'm releasing the pressure off my brush. I'm literally picking my brush up off my face, the same thing that we did on this side, but we're just placing the eyeshadow in a slightly different place. And on this side, I'm going in with the brush directly straight like this. I'm not going flat like I was on this side, and I'm not going up with no more product, just what's left on my brush. Then I'm gonna go from the outermost edge and literally go all the way up to the temple. So I've created a slight shadow, as you can see, going all the way to the temple and starting in the outside part of my crease. I'm going to take that slightly darker brown shade, tap off the excess, and I'm gonna start in the same place, the same thing that we did on this eye. So we're gonna go in with our darker color, but instead of going all the way out, we're just gonna go a little less than that. So I'm really happy with the amount of color, I'm happy with the amount of depth and the blending. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did on this eye and take this shader brush, go in with this color again, and I'm gonna apply color all the way out underneath our crease work. We're basically highlighting what we just did. So it's gonna emphasize that crease work that we did, but also open up our eyes a little bit more because we're adding that lighter shade on the lid. And I actually am gonna take a little bit of this lighter color into this inner portion, but I'm not gonna take it as far in as I did with this side. Just on this inner portion right here, a little bit up, following, you see this crease that I have? just following that. Okay, so I've applied my skin tint and I've applied concealer on the inner part of my under eyes, and I also filled in my eyebrows. But before I finish the rest of my face, I want to show you guys what I do with my concealer on the outer portion of my eye, because this also does help with the lifted technique. You can even do this if you don't really want to wear eyeshadow, like you have nothing on your lids, just some mascara, maybe some foundation, and you can still do a kind of lifted look with like bronzer, contour, and concealer. So I'm gonna take my concealer and I'm just gonna put a single dot directly underneath this eyeshadow, this line on the outer corner, just that much. Now on this side, because we don't have eyeshadow on this lower portion, I can just put it right here next to my outer corner. Now it's time to blend out my concealer, and whether you do this with a brush or a sponge, it really doesn't matter. You can go in with a small brush like this. I'm gonna go in with a sponge. I just find that it works better with my skin texture. So I'm gonna take the edge of my sponge like this, and I'm gonna go right over that concealer, and I'm gonna tap in place. And then I'm just gonna go right underneath this line with my concealer, going from the outer corner and just sweep upwards. And to create this lift, because you don't have to worry about any sagging skin, we wanna make sure that we're gonna emphasize this part. So this is our shadow line that we've created, and I'm gonna go directly underneath and go all the way up to the temple like that. Now this is really an eye focused look, but I do want to touch a little bit on contouring slash bronzing the cheek area, because that also does make a big difference if you want your whole face to really be lifted and sculpted. So I'm gonna take the exact same brush with the exact same cream color, so you can feel your actual bone. I feel mine right here, and then right beneath it is this hollow. So instead of going into the hollow of my cheek, I'm actually gonna go right on top of my cheekbone. Because sometimes when we go into the hollow, we can blend a bit too far down, and then it can make our makeup look muddy. So I'm gonna go directly onto that bone, just patting, and I'm going to focus most of the product right near my hairline. I'm not really gonna bring it in past this point where my actual cheek, like where I would put blush, starts. You can also notice that I'm applying in the exact same angle that I applied the eye contour. And as you can see, especially on this side of my face, so I've added a little bit of bronzer slash contour into that concentrated area. And because we have this concealer here, and then on top of that, the contoured eyeshadow, I mean, it just really looks like, you know what I mean? Now to finish off the eyes, on this side for hooded eyes, I'm going to be taking this Ultimate Gel Eyeliner from Sephora, and it's in the shade Brown Matte 09. You can basically take any long wearing eye pencil that you have. It doesn't have to be brown, whatever color you want really. And like we did before, I did apply a little bit of eyeshadow on the lower lash line, so I'm just gonna go basically on top of that, right in the lash line, and just apply this eyeliner. And I'm not going to take it past the center of my eye. And then I'm going to actually flick it up just a little bit. Again, following the line that we've already created. You can take a brush that looks like this, a very small, thin, domed brush. And I'm just going to go with no product on this brush. I'm going to use it to blend this eyeliner. So yeah. And this also helps with longevity, especially in this area. If you have watery eyes like me, putting a waterproof eyeliner really helps to make that this to ensure that this part isn't going to disappear or smudge on you. Now for this side, you can really just leave it like this. You can use this eyeliner pencil, go from the outer corner and connect up and do like kind of like a graphic eyeliner kind of moment. And that's what I'm going to do. But for my exposed lid friends, you could really just leave it like this and be done with it. But I feel like being extra today. So I'm gonna go right on the outer corner and angle it up, just like I mean, it's basically an eyeliner. And I'm also going to connect that eyeliner to the lower lash line. Again, going in with this same small smudger brush. And I'm just going to lightly tap and flick upwards to blend that eyeliner. I went a little crazy with the lip liner. I don't know what happened. But it's kind of cute. So anyway, this is the final look. Just a couple things before I go. I did add a nude color eyeliner, and all of the products that I use today will be in the description down below if you are curious. So I added a nude color eyeliner to really open up my eyes, some mascara, and as far as my blush and highlight, I basically put that on top of my cheekbones where you would normally place highlight. So I just put the blush as if I was applying a highlight, and then I put the highlight directly on top of that, just so everything is in a higher position, as opposed to other techniques where you would put bronzer here, blush here, highlight here. I kind of put them all on top of each other, again, so we're getting more of this lifted effect, not really bringing product into the middle of the face, keeping this area pretty clear of any product. And I did do a slight nose contour. But yeah, I hope you learned something. I hope this was very helpful for you. Like this video if you like tutorials and if you'd like to see more tutorials from me. And I'm sending you so much love and light, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!